This one, we'll roll.
You want me to put this one here?
No, that's okay.
Okay. I'll go do the special person then, I guess.
Yes.
Alright. Judges ready?
Ready. 3-minute crossfire.
Alright. Do you mind if I take the first question?
You're the first speaker, so go ahead.
Alright, do we need alternative energies?
Yes.
Well, alternative energies would cost more and would cause riots, wouldn't they? Look what's happening to ethanol.
Yeah, but we don't use that. Well, we don't use corn primarily in ethanol anymore. We're using switchgrass, I believe it's called.
But that's still completely
That's not something that people eat, by the way. So
I realize you don't. I
I
realize you don't eat switchgrass, but wouldn't that be completely inefficient to get? Because it would just be way too hard to farm switchgrass. It would be harder to convince farmers to farm something that they're not necessarily going to.
Well, it's only one alternative out of many. Nuclear power in and of itself is also an alternative.
Yeah, but nuclear power is more cost efficient. Because
not necessarily.
Well, actually, according to the Energy Business Report, nuclear energy is cost efficient since uranium fuel is abundant. The cost of nuclear power generation.
It's not abundant at all, though.
Well,
Providers such as Australia and Canada are having huge problems
355-page
meeting
report
status
on
quo for
nuclear power,
uranium.
it says it is abundant.
Yeah, well, what you're suggesting is that we start relying on uranium the way we rely on oil.
Well, do you have a counter source? Because this is a 355-page report.
I do, but not with me.
Then how does that, alright.
Can I ask you a question? You were talking about nuclear power being
go
cleaner
ahead.
than the current fuels that we use in the
Yes.
moment, correct?
Yes, we were.
Then what do you have to say about various studies showing that nuclear power and the processes of mining uranium, refining uranium, building nuclear power plants and such and so on, oftentimes creating 4 to 5 times more CO2 than if we were using fossil fuels?
Not necessarily, because also when you mine fossil fuels, it does release a ton amount of carbon.
It doesn't, yeah, it's already taken into account though, and nuclear power and its entire cycle, compared to fossil fuels' entire cycle, releases 4 to 5 times more CO2. Which is not clean at all.
Well, no, not
at all. It does cause acid rain.
It does not cause acid rain.
Irrelevant. Let's move on.
Well, you brought it up.
It's
All
still
right,
irrelevant.
let's move on. All right, you were talking about alternatives were, well, yeah, you were talking about alternative energies, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Let's bring it back to that. You were talking how alternative, if we didn't have a nuclear program, then we would have more money for alternative energies.
Okay.
Well, what about, we already have nuclear generators that are out there. Wouldn't it be less expensive if we put more money into these nuclear generators and make more?
Not at all. We need to change our technology, our regulations, and pretty much everything. We need to also hire a lot more maintenance personnel just so we could build more nuclear power plants.
But
they don't meet the safety regulations.
No, the regulations are actually tighter than any
Regardless,
other.
though, what you're suggesting is that we
So
rely entirely on nuclear energy, whereas with
please?
alternatives, we can solve other problems, such as the fuel required for our vehicles.
Plan. Crossfire. Prep time. 30-second intervals.
Take a minute.